Okay, guys and girls. You guys have crossed a certain line, and now you're in trouble. Because you've shown me that I can pretty much do anything and that you won't kill me. So I'm going to do everything. The backstage stuff that scares some teachers, because I think you guys are cool. I'm not pumping sunshine up your panties. I go some places and I literally have to go back in time 10 years to catch them and then move them forward. Because if you strap a jet engine to a biplane, you will tear the wings off. I get that, right? So if you don't have really strong wings yet, it's okay. Don't try to carry too much payload. Here's something I've never said in front of an audience. We overstacked the payload. Here's a for instance. I did a school-wide project-based learning unit in Ness City, Kansas, and I love these teachers over there. And the whole school, they're making wind wagons. One thing we have in western Kansas is wind. We have wind farms and we have wind. So we don't have a lot, but we use what we've got. So we wanted to tie into the literature of wind wagons, the history, the Oregon Trail. There's so much good, rich content. So that makes a good learning artifact, wind wagons. So with the whole school, we started designing wind wagons, and then we would test them, put a fan in front of them, test them for how fast they would go, how far they would go. Without the criteria, the kids wouldn't have been interested. By the end, they made them huge, right? And we did a whole lot in one day. Some teachers were mad that not enough content was covered in one day. And they made my syllabus for me, and it had like 1,000 expectations on it. And I said to them, and I've never said this again, a lesson is a rocket on a launch pad. And it needs a certain amount of thrust for the kids to break orbit, or they'll come back down and crash, okay? But we overstack the cargo bay. No thrust can get that into orbit. Fire more rockets. You can get to Mars, but not in one shot, right? Slow down and stop having so many expectations for one amazing lesson. I will trade covering less content for them remembering for the rest of their freaking lives. How many days of school did you go to that you remember none of? What was that? What was that? Rigor? What was that? Suffering? Right? If you don't remember it, you didn't learn it. I get teachers who are mad at me. I taught it, she just didn't learn it. No, you didn't teach it. If they don't remember it, they didn't learn it. Memory is a part of the situation. I tend to find that kids remember things when they have quirky teachers. Teachers who love what they teach. I had a chemistry teacher like this. Chemistry teachers, where you at? You people are going to kill somebody. You guys are dangerous, man. You're always showing off stuff, always making stuff blow up because that gets people's attention. Mr. Lewis, Doc Lewis, see, pulls out lithium. Lithium. Kids, lithium is he's talking slow on purpose, like that guy in Star Trek. Remember the guy, I just need a few more seconds. They're attacking the Death Star. They're blowing all these, just a few more. He's very slow. Mr. Lewis is talking slow. Lithium is a very unstable, knowing that it's going to start dripping fire. Fireballs are going, choo, choo, and every place it lands, a small fire starts. And we're all going, we're going to die. He did it every year. The first day of school to just make you sit up and pay attention. Now, fear is a powerful emotion, but more than that, Doc Lewis loved what he taught. And his love for it wrote in permanent ink on all of us. Conversely, I had teachers who were going through the motions. I could tell they hated their job. And I'm like, I have to be part of this? Why do I have to watch you suffer? What class is this? Masochism 101? What is this? Right? When teachers are reluctant to try new things, pick the ones you freaking hate teaching and find a way to love it. Oh, what if it's not as good as it? Guys, are they remembering it now? If we're honest, are they remembering it now? You know what I mean? So those teachers are like, you're not getting enough content. In that one day, are you freaking kidding me? They're never going to forget that day. Because we create a memory. We're temporal creatures, and no one talks about this. Temporal creatures, time-based. Right? No one talks about temporal learning, but they should. Temporal learning is the notion that time is passing while you're learning. Right? Time is the bookmark. Now think about before they had autoplay or they had random shuffle, we knew our albums, didn't we? When Life in the Fast Lane was over, our brain already knew what the next song was. Right? Because we're temporal creatures. If in your class you did something amazing, it lays out like a story that I can tell. So all the facts are pinned to the story. So that's why I can rewind you. Let me give you a test. If I said, tell me everything you did on your last vacation, go. It's a bubble test. Right? Or if I said, tell me the story of your last vacation, you'd remember more facts in better context if you told it as a story. But so often the way we teach doesn't lay out that way. So kids come home from school and mom and dad say, what'd you do at school, sweetie? Nothing. They didn't do nothing. They went from a class that said math to a class that said science to a class, and none of it stuck together in a rewindable way except that one crazy teacher, the one that's in trouble. Because if they didn't make it interesting, they would die. Have you ever taught the same lesson 3 times in a row, but you just can't make yourself do it the same way because you're bored? Good, right? Follow that. That's okay. You ever teach the same class 3 times and you're thinking, have I said this yet? Been there? Me too, right? So if that's underwhelming for us, it's underwhelming for them. So how do we shake things up? And what do we do to make it interesting? And it may be that some of these crazy notions, you're not going to do this every day. No one refits the entire auto plant in one day. One thing here and one thing there. Why I like special ed and why I like at-risk is because I can do brain surgery in those classrooms and no one bothers me. That's sad, really, but true. So some of the best places to try new technology, I find, is in those rooms. Those rooms, right? And I see amazing things happen in those rooms. I was in Schuyler, Nebraska in the special ed program taking in iPads, and none of the presenters had ever gone in that room. That's the first place I wanted to go. Those are the crazy teachers. They'll try anything, right? And you're the same way. You're the same way, but you've been dancing in a straitjacket for a while, and you know how much room there is in there, right? And I'm for like the liberation. But the liberation comes at a cost, my friends. We must tell the stories. The stories is what will make it sustainable, right? Right? And it happens all the time. You have these amazing teachers, and they go off to someplace else because the culture didn't change. And what I'm finding is the essential part is the stories. People support what they've learned to be proud of. Number one ingredient, we have to love each other, support each other, back each other, and never talk each other down. Never, right? Talk to each other. I know we're busy, right? We got to be kinder. We do. The last faculty meeting I was at, one of the teachers said, I hear all the kids do in your classes have fun, Honeycutt. That's when I knew I had to go. I said, is that against school policy? Come to my room and I'll show you what I'm doing. And they wouldn't. And they didn't get it. And I realized I had no friends. I was eating lunch in my room alone that day. And I said, I don't like this anymore. I love my kids, and I lost them in the divorce. I called my wife and said, I told you I'd never do this for a paycheck. I'm dying. She said, okay, you can quit. And I'm painting houses. And I'm broke. As much as I can make painting houses, I can't pay the bills. My wife called me one day. I'm on a ladder on the second floor scraping. She said, the foreclosure papers are on the door today. That's how bad it got. And then I got a phone call, and it was the place that hired me. They hired me for the reason I got in trouble. So for the last 10 years, I've been taking the crazy things I do, telling them to people, and making money. Isn't that fun? Right? And I've been partnering with the other crazies. I don't want other people to die like I did. I want there to be a critical mass of people. If I'm an administrator, there's certain crazies who try new things. I'm going to give you a T-shirt. We don't give you money, but I'll give you a T-shirt. We'll call you something cool, right? I'm also going to give you some permission. You don't have to ask a million people anymore, right? But here's the way it is. You find a new tool, test it out yourself like you already are, take it to staff development so we can look at it, make sure we tame the tool so we don't get fired, and then we'll start using that stuff, right? We won't slap your hand anymore or ask you why, right? We're going to move forward a little bit. You're going to have a badge. That's how you grow innovation. Most schools have a pocket here and a pocket there, but they're not really together. I want to bring us together, pre-K-12, right? Not just pockets here and there, but share. At a conference like this where you guys are presenting, next year, if you didn't present this year, present next year. And make sure you're nice to the people who present because they're scared crapless. I'm scared crapless. I've been doing this for 10 years, and every time I'm scared because this is huge. Your time, I have to be worthy of that. I won't waste your time. And so I want to be up to that challenge, you know? Well, your colleagues, they're nervous too. You think they want to be up in front of the room, but they're trying something. Sit in the front row and feed them with your eyes. Some of you are doing that to me. You're looking at me like you're willing me to be great. You're suspending me with your faith. I can spot good teachers because they do that. Then you have the cross-armed people who came, they came to outknow you. Now, this happens in our profession. It does. You know what I mean? The people just, we got to change this. We have to. The job we do is too important not to be kind to one another. This is hard hard work. I have a question for you. Is your school global? And when I say global, connected to other schools. Your kids routinely do partnering projects with kids in Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, China, Japan, stuff we've been able to do for a decade. Is that happening? Are you connected on social media so you have all the best tools at your fingertips when you need them? Are you global or are you snow global? This is so tweetable, please. I had this idea one time. I was at a school that thought it was ahead. This is so sad. They were 10 years behind. Now, they were 10 years ahead 10 years ago. Then they made a snow globe. Put their school inside, and it's pretty in there. It's cool. Our kids made AYP, and they passed a bond issue and cool recess equipment. And they put their name on it and put 2005 on there and put it on the shelf and started going behind. It's got dust all over it. Kids are inside with glass cutters trying to get out. We give them detentions, right? Our kids have to be able to connect to this world. So if we're not doing that, they're doing it all by themselves without mentors. And stuff happens. You know that. You see this stuff happens, right? Right? Who do you blame? So the sooner I can get you connected, the sooner you have a bigger network, the better, right? And you will thank me for this, I promise. And when you get on there, make friends with other practitioners. First people I made friends with were other art teachers. And then that got boring. I started making friends with musicians. Be careful. Musicians are crazy. Gifted teachers, tech people, tech support people. Why? In my district, I had to wait a long time. We didn't have enough tech people. So before long, I would just ask my own tech question, solve my own problem, get back to work. Oh, I like that, right? When I started realizing the resources I could tap, I never could go back to just being by myself anymore. But then I wanted to hurry and say, kids, let's leverage this unfair advantage. Let's be smart about the way we build you online, Let's make sure your image isn't just Susie Cream Cheese. Girl, you're more than that. Let's stop doing that, right? Let's make sure future boss sees you as the person you want to. Where are the pictures of you writing? You say you want to be a writer. You say you want to be a scientist. You say you want to be a physicist. Where's the pictures of you in a lab coat? Why is none of that on social media? Why are you a secret genius? Stop it. Get out there. Now, how can I ask them to do that if I don't? So I'm leading by example. I'm holding up my phone and I'm talking to it. You will see, go on my YouTube channel. You can make fun of me all you want. But where's your stuff? Right? Until you have stuff, I don't care what you think. My stuff is not great. I don't have time for perfect. I don't have time for it. So if I'm somewhere, I do virtual field trips. If I'm in a cool museum, if the docents will let me, I'm going to archive that whole museum for all the kids who won't get to go there. Why wouldn't you do that? Hold your phone up, and what are you doing? You're teaching literally the museum. Kids, if you want to read the placards, just hit pause. I'm not slowing down. I'm tired. I just say it on the camera, right? And two, I'm showing kids that good people help other people with their technology. I'm giving them something to do, an assignment of sorts, right? Let's say that you're in my class and you're my slow readers, but you're great kids. I know some things about you, right? You won't do things for yourself, but you'll do anything for other people. You're so kind that way. And if I touch your heart, you'll do anything for me. I'm going to leverage that today. Kids, I'm going to show you a site online where people read books to people, right? And then what I want us to do is read some public domain books so we don't get sued, chapter by chapter, because research shows that kids who don't get read to don't read very well. Will you help me read to kids who don't get read to? You're all like, okay, Mr. Honeycutt. And it's so beautiful because you should do this for yourself, but you won't yet. But you will do it for those invisible kids who need things. Have you found that the kids who are in the most need are the ones that help other kids who are in the most need? That's beautiful. That's beautiful. So we start simple books, right? Simple public domain books. You're recording them with your device, chapter by chapter, right? And you don't let anyone hear that until you've got one you like. You get 1, 2, 3, 4, 20 takes. No one ever hears your stammering. You're welcome. Typically, we have those kids read in front of everyone, and they're embarrassed. They're destroyed. And no one's mean to them in your room. You're nice. The hallway's another place. And you made me hate reading. Please never do that to me again. Let me take the iPad in the other room, and can I read to it, please? And come back when I have one I'm not embarrassed about, please? I do this. I have a computer set up, and they just hit record. And there's an X on the floor. Stand on the X and start talking. Make sure you're on the X or we won't hear you. And we're doing book reviews today, right? And listening to these is so much fun because you can hear everything the kids are and everything they aren't yet, right? And parents and grandparents are hearing them too, and the kids are starting to feel proud of what they have done. I'll give you another thing I'm doing with this school. We're making videos, docent videos of the school. So kids, we got a map of the floor plan of the district, and kids go to those different places, and they teach everyone about the school district, right? And then we're drawing a map. All the creative kids are drawing this really cool map with QR codes. So we give out the map, and then you scan the QR code, and the kids pop up and give you a tour of our school. We're starting with the school because that's easiest. Then we're going to do historic places and farmsteads and things that tie to our state history curriculum. Now, you're so busy with that, you don't have as much time to do stupid things on Facebook because you are on fire being a virtual docent. Please tell me that's interesting to anyone. In my little town, I think it could be gold to do for the whole town, right? Giving it to people, giving that town and that experience to people. The devices already have cameras, right? So that's one way, leveraging video to let kids be teachers. That's cool. All right. Raise your hand if this is true. If you lost your cell phone or laptop, you would lose important information. Raise your hand if that's true. Okay, not backed up to the cloud, I see, huh? That's okay. You do the same thing I did. About 3 years ago, I had a digital stroke. I call it my digital stroke. I lost 60,000 photographs. Utterly. I lost all my presentations. I had a stroke. And it happened fast. I wasn't backed up. I should have been. And how many people felt sorry for me on social media? What did they say to me? Oh, Kevin Honeycutt is not backed up. That's not helping, okay? That's not helping, okay? All right. Now I've got 3 2-terabyte hard drives. I've got one backup of my disc in the guitar case, one in my carry-on bag, one in the suitcase. You can steal that. It's going to be hard to take my whole mind, and most of it's online somewhere in the cloud. I'm not letting that happen again, right? What's happened to the brain? It used to be self-contained, ensconced inside the cranium, right? And then we started inventing tools. Now I want you to think about this. The psychology shows that when we use a tool, we push our consciousness to the tip of the tool. Anyone that's ever painted knows what I mean. The tip of the paintbrush is your consciousness. You push it to there. Pencil, it's the tip. Motorcycle, it's the tires on the road. NASCAR, it's the front and back bumper, right? Sculptor, it's the chisel. Or, right? So any tool you're using, you push your consciousness to the tip of the tool. What happens when the tool is the internet? How far does that reach? That's kind of amazing. So what has the brain done? It's reached out and grabbed these things and fashioned for itself digital limbs. Now, I can prove this. Who knows what ghost pain is? A lot of people who are amputees, they'll tell you they still feel pain in a hand that's not there. That's called ghost pain. The brain does not forget that it's still there, right? When you lose a cell phone, you know that desperate feeling when you first realize you left it on the plane? Anyone? That first feeling when you go, oh crap! You know why? How many phone numbers do you have memorized? I don't know my wife's number. I love her. I just push wife and it calls her. I don't know her number. Okay. From a neurological point of view, this is very interesting because a lot of the brain research that they've done, and they did this on ferrets, they excised parts of the ferret's brain, the temporal lobe, and they replaced it with optic lobe tissue. They just did this. And the brain immediately did the new job. It's amazingly plastic, right? So when a kid has a dysfunction, there's this little window of time when they can repurpose parts of the neocortex. What I know about the brain is it doesn't waste real estate. If a kid has lazy eye and you don't patch that eye, you got a little bit of time, the brain shuts it down and repurposes that neocortex, right? So right now, since we're not warehousing data, the brain's doing new things with that real estate. So while everyone's so worried that we're not doing certain things, don't worry. I promise you it's not going to waste. I think there's new room for vast new things that humans have never done before. I'm an optimist in that way. When they come to school and we don't use devices, we amputate their digital limbs. Most schools do this by policy at the front door in the morning. So imagine how that feels, right? How many of you at least check email a couple times a day to make sure the family's okay and the house hasn't burned down? Anyone? So they have that need too, but it can't be constant. I think we can fit it in there in places where we give kids the 5-minute digital check-in with home, check-in with recess, so it doesn't become every time, all the time, under the desk, covert. That's when we're putting them in a different place than us, and that's not a good place to be. That's the secret life. That's the getting away with something thing. And then I don't think we can do that anymore, right? So try this on and ask yourself, is this true? Is this true? Is your mind this way now? Raising a kid now at 49, when I'm pretty digital. But boy, I can be analog too. Trying to balance all this, is exhausting, but necessary, I think, for me as an educator. So is it important for kids to be mentored as they navigate the digital playground? Go on Facebook and look for the Digital Grannies. This is my group. A group of grandmas called me years ago and said, we want to learn to Facebook and Twitter. I said, why? We want to mentor our grandkids without embarrassing them. I do this for free. This is sanctified work. The room smells like excitement, apprehension, and Bengay. It's awesome. Grandma is on Twitter. Grandma is on Instagram. So think about this. In the old days, I lived in a village, and I was Kevin of Hawksley. Why? I live in Hawksley. And I would only ever live in Hawksley, so that's my context. And the people who know me are from the village, and that's my whole life. I live and die in Hawksley. Now it's everywhere. Kevin of everywhere, which is very interesting. And what a terrible thing to waste. What a terrible thing to pee on. I tell kids, don't pee in your own pool. What does that mean? Don't do stupid things in front of everyone. How many of you have ever written an email that would get you fired? You didn't send it, but it felt good to write. Raise your hand. I love you. Thank you for raising your hand. Me too. Abraham Lincoln did this. Not with email. Abraham Lincoln wrote 2 copies of many famous letters. The one he meant and then the one he sent. He wasn't stupid. He was his own best therapist. And I'm saying to kids, write the text. By all means, just delete it. Get it out of your system, but don't send it. What are we asking them to tell themselves before they publish? I talk to a lot of kids about this. I ask this question. This is my test question all over the world. Raise your hand if you have something online right now you'd be embarrassed if your mom saw. I've asked, in the last 10 years, I've probably asked 250,000 kids that question. Here's what I get everywhere all over the world. Ready? Uh-oh, they have a secret life. And I'll say, kids, secret life is a bad thing. If something bad happens in your secret life, who can you tell? Right? And it always comes out. It always comes out. Rich, poor, doesn't matter. Let me give you a for instance. You're talking to your BFF, and your BFF, best friends forever, and you love each other, and you tell each other your deep, dark secrets, because girls never get in a fight and hate each other. That never happens. And you set it all digital, and now she's got a copy of the transcript on her phone, and you get in a fight in the cafeteria tomorrow and now hate each other, and she has all your words. Imagine a smart bomb coming out of the sky, and it's about to hit you. You can't run. It's too late. You just sit there, kind of pray. And just before the bomb hits you, you notice something on the side, your signature. Stop it. You don't have to be dumb in front of people. We all deserve to be human, not on the record. Some conversations are still best held mouth to ear, right? So let's do a scenario. You guys are BFF and everything's cool. You don't even get in a fight. You like each other, but you graduate and you graduate. You go on, you go on. 20 years goes by, and you're running for president. You're way ahead in the polls. You're going to win. Until the night before the election, the National Enquirer finds your BFF. Did you guys chat back in the day? Yeah. Do you have those transcripts? Maybe. We'll give you $1 million for that. We still BFF. And kids will squirm. I get squirmers in every audience. I can tell they're doing it, and their friends lean away from them. They're called liabilities. They go, And this is the mean girls. This is the little bullies. These are the ones doing bad things. I find that kids who bully never feel sorry for the victim, but they always are concerned about themselves. So I bring it back there. Everything you've ever published will always be online forever. Do you like all of it? Stop leaking stupid, okay? Clean up what you can, but count on the fact that it's always going to be out there. I took it down, old man. I screenshot it because I don't like you. Stop doing that. Don't create the stuff that your worst enemy could use to take you down, because I promise it will come at the worst time. Just when you have kids and a mortgage, stop doing that. We got to get ahead of this. And I think one simple way to do it is start creating digital things they're proud of. I've noticed when kids start building something they're proud of, they don't want to risk a reputation they've started. If we're not helping with that, why would they care, right? This is my simple thing that I've been trying everywhere I go to get them to have a digital resume that they're proud of. And it sometimes starts in your classroom with Edmodo, and it's not an extranet, it's intranet. It's right here, but that's okay because they can take it with them when they leave, but they're rehearsing. So instead of that file cabinet full of worksheets, they have a whole bunch of digital things they can repurpose later on and use later on, right? This is not rocket science. You guys know all of these things. Rodolfo Linus, the guy that I read all of his books, he studies the human brain, and he wrote a book called The Eye of the Vortex, the letter I of the vortex. And in this book, he really studied how humans became creatures who refer to themselves as I. We're the only creatures on earth that do that. We have that consciousness that we can say I. That's kind of an amazing thing. To understand human cognition, he first started studying, he studied cognition on 3 orders of magnitude. This is a very thorough scientist. He started with simple creatures that barely have a brain, a ganglion. These are sea squirts. Sea squirts. Sea squirts, when they hatch out, they move through the ocean. They have motricity. They can move. They can respond to light and temperature. And all they do is have this little tiny brain. And then they plant themselves on some place that's a good place to be because they're filter feeders. So they try to land in some place where they can live. The minute they plant themselves permanently, the next thing they do is digest their own brain. Creatures that don't move don't need a brain. Kids in a seat all day that don't need a brain. You see what I mean? And if they're waiting for you to come and tell them what to do next, I'm afraid of what's happening. So I want them to drive. Will it be a mess? I guarantee it. I guarantee it. But if they don't have ownership, why be interested? Why do anything if your name is not on it? When I come to your elementary classroom, and I see a lot of classrooms that are really cute, designed by the teacher, but what element of your classroom is designed by the kids? The desk. I go to elementary classrooms, it's August, and their name is on there, written in someone else's handwriting, laminated, so I can't even change it. The desk isn't even mine. What if you did a Twitter desk thing? Okay, this is laminated paper on the desk, and every day they come in with dry erase and they write what they're feeling. That's the tweet of the day. So they come in and they write. You walk up to the desk and you can see inside their mind. Dog died, little sad. I'll approach different, right? So you're leveraging, this is a tradigital idea, a Twitter idea that's analog. I know elementary teachers who have Twitter bulletin boards. Bulletin boards. Every day the kids come in and tweet on paper, stick it on with Velcro, and everyone reads the tweets. And what they're teaching kids is etiquette, how to be nice people to each other, how to choose an appropriate profile picture. But all of it is encouraging writing. Very sneaky. Good teachers do that. They find a way to build Trojan horses and fill it full of content and expectation. Well, there's these things that Linus discovered called FAPs. So if I throw a baseball to you, sir, you probably will catch the baseball. The best supercomputer in the world can't do that. Faster than the human organism? Yes, by far. But the computer considers every place the ball could come, and it tries to do them all at the same time, and it gets hung up. A human launches an FAP, right? A fixed action pattern. You launch your hand near where it might be, and at the last minute you make a minute adjustment and you catch the ball. We are FAPs. Everything you know is an FAP. Believe me? First time you fell down when you were learning to walk, you threw your hand back. Who taught you that? See, we're not tabula rasa. We actually are born with FAPs. This little creature here, this little baby, is descended upon by a predator. What does it try to do? Who taught it that? What I want us to know is kids come to us with abilities. These are FAPs. Our job is to get out the FAP, polish it, and put it back. So if you're a guitar student of mine, you come in, you're this good. We get out that FAP. A song is an FAP. The whole song is one FAP, fixed action pattern, right? Anything that you do that's an ability is an FAP. So we make your song better, and you put it back, right? Singular gyrus is where he thinks these things reside, like a marble bag full of things you can do. And what's really cool is his research suggests that FAPs interact with one another. Try that on for a minute. Things you know interact with things you know. If they're allowed to. You know where this happens? Dreaming and play. Those are places where disparate ideas are allowed to juxtapose, right? Right? Play is where ideas audition for a part in the brain's production of understanding. One more time. Play is where ideas audition for a part in the brain's production of understanding. In a dream, weird stuff comes together. You're riding a unicorn down Times Square, and for some reason P. Diddy is there. That can only happen in a dream, or when kids are allowed to play, or invent, or create, right? And some kids, that's who they are, that's what they are. That's why they become Steve Jobs, unless we stomp that out of them and teach them how to be normal, right? Middle managers, you know? So I want to make sure we keep this elixir of play, of invention, of creativity in our work. You know what I mean? And if it's not every day, when is it? People are starting to do Genius Hour. That's what I'm talking about. This open-ended, invent something cool. Will they all do it? They've almost forgotten. I taught K-12. I watched kids go from kindergarten to 12th grade, right? And I watched something weird happen. I watched them fall out of love with their own ideas, fall out of love with their own creativity. By high school, they don't remember who they were. And I'll say, be creative. What should I do? I don't have any ideas. I knew this kid in 3rd grade, and she did have ideas. When did we kill that? How did we extinguish it? How many times did she raise her hand and ask for permission to pee? She closed Taco Bell last night, set the alarm, counted the drawer, and she's asking for permission to urinate? What are we doing? These kids can do amazing things. A 14-year-old can dig a well in Uganda and save a village from a disease. Or they can play Angry Birds and do worksheets. What can we do? I'm on fire about this. This is important. I want kids to be amazing, and I've got to be a little bit weird for them to be weird. I can't be constipated and then have them be amazing. I've got to be just as weird or weirder than they are. And I'm always, look, if I'm drawing for you, I don't draw well because I want you to beat me. If I draw well, you say, I can't do that. So all my examples, this is my excuse for why my stuff sucks. But I don't try to outdo the kids, but I do a lot. Go on iTunes. Look for me. I have 23 singles. Don't buy any of them. My music sucks. But I have them. Where's your music? You talk a good game, little girl. Where's your music? When will I see it? Talk, okay? Talk to me when you got a single. And then I show them TuneCore.com. TuneCore, one word, CORE.com, where you get a free account. And for $9.99, you can release your singles to 40 online music stores plus iTunes. Your son's song will drop on iTunes next Tuesday, and he gets to say that. Yeah, you know, my new single's coming out. Yeah, next Tuesday, it's no big deal, you know. Yeah. Now he's on the record. He's got a copyrighted song, and, you know, he's the only one in school that did that. And I picked him on purpose because he needed that victory, right? He's a rapper. Where's your stuff? By the way, if there's a service that lets you do music, anything that you write that someone reads out loud, it's called an audiobook. You can publish it the same way. So let's pretend in my class you're all going to write an essay. And if you're shy about reading it, anyone else in class is your talent. But you have to partner with them on the single and put them on there and give them credit. Okay? So you're my reader. She's just so good. She does posh. You know, she can do English accents, all that stuff. So you're reading my story in this wonderful way. And, you know, I'm the director because I wrote it, right? And we're all done with our little MP3. We upload it to the class album. And that album is published. It feels big. Well, it is big. Call the TV news about that. Put out a press release. I do it all the time. Small school has kids doing audiobooks and publishing to the world. I send those to them. I have a listserv of all the TV stations and the newspapers, and I send these out. In fact, the description at the top of my lesson plan is a press release. I just started formatting it in the form of a press release. That way I copy, paste, send it, just in case. They love to come to your school when some kid does something wrong. Try getting them here when you do something well. And the problem is we're busy. We tell them at the last minute. Every 1 hour news cycle, they need 15 seconds of uplifting. We should be writing that. I started doing that. My colleagues misunderstood. They thought I was bragging. Here's the thing. I'm the art teacher. I know I'm the first to go. Me, then vocal music, then band. That's the order. Unless there's a theater teacher, then I got a shot. I know this. So I do certain things I call some pig projects. Some pig. So they won't make bacon out of Wilbur. I'm Wilbur. Okay? So I have to do these things just to stay in my job so I can keep serving kids. But it looks like bragging because the culture doesn't understand that promotion is essential. Essential. Because we're under attack. Our profession is literally fighting for its life right now, and some of us don't even hear the battle. Right? So I'm not over there fighting politicians. I won't act like they do. I lead with stories that they can't touch. I don't talk about me. I talk about the kids. Well, you're gonna attack my story about this kid who did an amazing... What kind of jerk are you? You would be Hitler if you tried. I create third rails you can't touch. That's what I want from you guys too. So when if you're worried about bragging, you're not bragging about you. Why wouldn't you brag about your kids' success? Right? And get them to start thinking about that and taking some pride in what they're doing. FAPE is kind of a new thing, right? Something maybe you saw, maybe you've seen before. How many of you heard the term FAPE for the first time today? Rodolfo Linus is a guy that answers my Skype calls. He's amazing. I read his book and kind of fell in love because I think someone's got an owner's manual for the brain. I love his stuff, absolutely love it. I talk about emotion and learning, create forever learning, right? So how many of you were teaching when 9/11 happened? How much of that day do you remember? Okay, that's when I first started thinking, oh my God, strong emotion cements all adjacent learning. Also, I go back in time. People who were alive when Lincoln was assassinated, same thing happened. Kennedy, same thing happened. Elvis died, it happened, right? So emotion, negative emotion cements learning. Positive does too. How much did you remember about the day you had your first child? How about your wedding day? So how you feel is like a big deal, right? It like turns everything permanent, how you feel when you come into the classroom. How you feel in my room. something crazy might happen. I try to create as much stuff to remember as I can. That's why I use the Glade plugins and create scentscapes. Every day of the week is a different smell. They don't even know this. I use music too, not their music. I play world music they've never heard of, and the only association they have with this music is my class. I don't mind their music, but they have their own associations. I create new ones that go with art, right? I'm constantly looking for those. If I play a certain song, you're 16 again. Certain perfume you smell or cologne, you're 16 again. You know the country road. Right? Your brain catalogs this way with scent and sound and smell. So I'm leveraging all of that stuff. I got to change the rules. I got some kids who have failed and failed and failed and failed and failed, but not this year. Not this year. Not if I can help it. I'm changing the rules here, and I'll use some crazy techniques if I have to. I don't have an ego about this. And to other teachers, it's going to look crazy. And when they see that kid succeed and get on grade level in my room, they're going to think I cheated. If they knew what I did, they wouldn't. But our profession has to trust. You got to trust. I'm not cheating, right? But I am bending the rules and giving that kid some powers he's never seen before, right? Also creating emotions in my room. I collect certain powerful videos to get kids to think, and I use emotion constantly. I'm going to go to YouTube real quick and show you an example. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this to you. I'm going to use emotion right now to hook you, Now, where I want to take you is ancient history. Where I want to take you is the Greeks and the Peloponnesians, and I'm doing all of that, but not today. Today I'm going to hook you with a writing prompt. Ready? Now I'm going to go into my little thing. Here we go. Ready? Kids, I don't know if you know, but there's a scientist called Dr. Robert Ballard. You can Google him while I'm talking, that's okay. He's the guy who found the Titanic. He's also an amazing guy who I've met. He spoke on a stage like this, and I got to know him a bit. He's a really interesting guy. He's an underwater archaeologist. Well, he had this theory that in the Black Sea, Google Black Sea while I'm talking, thank you. The Black Sea is different from any other body of water on the planet, and I want to know why. When you know, raise your hand. Do not raise your hand unless you're on a website I respect, thank you. The Black Sea is different. It's different in a way, right? Because Black Sea is not oxygenated. So under 100 feet in the Black Sea, nothing that needs oxygen is alive, including the mollusks that eat wooden-hulled vessels. So his theory was any ship of antiquity that ever sank in the Black Sea was still there in perfect states of preservation. How many of you are remotely interested now? See, I'm waving my little thing here, aren't I? I'm waving it, right? So he couldn't prove it because of the sphere of influence of the Soviet Union. Now I'm creating handles that I'm going to build onto in social studies a week from now, 2 weeks from now, handles. But when the wall came down, he could suddenly have access to the Black Sea, and he could not get there fast enough. He took his lucky ship, the Nor, the one he found the Titanic with, and they start looking for ships of antiquity. Now, kids, how are you going to find these trade routes? The trade routes went on for a millennium of seagoing trade, right? And the cargo at the time, what was the cargo? Well, the six-pack of its day was called the amphora, a clay vessel with a beeswax seal. And they carried things like garum, a fish paste that they liked in those times, honey, and wine, right? And on these long voyages, what might the crewmates be apt to do with all of that wine just lying about? So he's trying to find the trade routes, and he's thinking, he does this little thought experiment, I bet they broke into the wine. And you can't leave a partial empty, you're going to get flogged. What do you do with the empty? Flunk? 1,000 years of flunk? Guess what? There's a trail of amphora right along the trade routes. So he just puts his sonar equipment down, they start looking, and they find the trail. They follow the trail to the mast of the first wooden ship sticking out of the bottom. The bottom of the Black Sea is the consistency of Jell-O, so any ship that goes in just closes the door and is sitting there. They start excavating. See how I can stop anytime I want and you're still with me? I got you, right? Because the story is compelling and it's something you haven't heard before. I collect these kind of stories that are new to you, but if it involves people dying, risk, poop, right? I know my subjects. I have to get you with something, right? They start excavating. They get down to the cargo hold. The wood is in perfect state of preservation. The builder's marks are still intact. They get down to the cargo. The amphora are intact. The wine is intact. How would you like to taste wine from the time of Christ? It's probably a bad millennium. He thinks they're going to find bodies, not mummies. Bodies that look hypothermic from the time of Christ. Stomach contents still intact. So kids, let's pretend that you're on a voyage with Ballard and you find one of these bodies. You bring it up 2 ship's mates, just for grins and giggles, pull the resuscitation unit off the wall. And he wakes up. I want you to write me 1 paragraph called Millennium Man, go. I want to do it every time. This all really happened. He thinks in the next 10 years, he thinks there's 1 million of these ships waiting. 1 million from a millennium of sea travel. This is all going to happen and be huge in the very near future, right? So what I did is I used emotion just now. I used emotion and curiosity to hook you deep, and I didn't give you a thesis to write. I gave you a paragraph. I didn't overload the cargo bay, right? But I got you. I'm going to leverage this later on. We're going to get into Google SketchUp and do a geometry assignment that's going to be the ships of antiquity, which you already like. We're going to talk about amphora and prefab temples. They made prefab temples. They're in some of the wrecks. Everything you need to put up a temple. They were very sophisticated people. They just didn't have our technology yet, right? So leveraging that. I collect videos that are 30 seconds long that own the room, and then I spin it at the end because it's not easy to grab kids and get them emotionally involved. And once I have you, then I can leverage that. I'm constantly doing that. I can't create all this stuff. I don't have time. Woo-hoo. Do you think it will fall? I live dangerously. I'm going to go to YouTube. I want to show you one that I absolutely love when I'm talking to kids about being kind to one another. Pantene commercial. This is my Pantene commercial. Now, I'm going to tell you how I use it. In fact, I'm going to narrate it for you, okay? It's a Pantene commercial, so it's going to show hair flying that's really shiny. So, okay, get ready for that, okay? So this is a narrative, kids. It's a narrative for any kid that's ever felt like they couldn't do something. That might be you. It might be someone around you that you just never thought of supporting before. In this commercial, a little deaf girl feels the violin. She wants to learn.
เป็นเป็ดแล้วจะบิน เป็นคนหูหนวกแล้วจะเล่นไวโอลิน เธอจะบ้าเหรอ ทำไมไม่ไปเรียนวิชาอื่น เสียเวลาคนอื่นเขา
Enter the crazy teacher, who is also deaf. You still play the violin? Why am I different from others? Why do you have to be like others? Music is a visible thing. Close your eyes. You will see. So she practices. She believes the teacher. She persists. She tries. Then there's something she wants. A contest. Something that matters. She still faces daily adversity. But she holds on to her dream. She keeps practicing. Her nemesis sees all of this. She hires the guy to destroy her dream.
จบไปแล้วอย่างสวยงามนะครับสำหรับผู้เข้าประกวดคนสุดท้ายของเราในวันนี้นะครับและในช่วงต่อไปก็จะเป็นช่วงของครับเรายังเหลือผู้เข้าประกวดอีก1ท่านนะครับในวันนี้เราไปพบกับเธอกันเลยครับ
She shows up with her fiddle taped back together. How many kids have you ever had that were taped together? Taped together. Remembers what her teacher said. In this moment, now her hair is going to fly around. It is Pantene, after all. In this moment, kids, she's becoming. Everything she is happening right now in front of people. She had a dream. She held on to it. She faced adversity. She didn't quit trying. Everyone thought she couldn't, but they didn't know her. I'm such a wuss. I cry every time. It's a freaking commercial. She doesn't even know she's extraordinary yet, but she will. I want this to be you this year. I cannot wait to bask in the glow of your greatness. I will wear sunblock. It's a freaking Pantene commercial. I got 100 of these. There's certain days when kids need to re-believe. Teachers too, right? So I just collect these. I'll share mine with you if you share yours, right? Sometimes I go to Twitter and say, guys, I need a 1-minute video to make kids believe again because I'm struggling. Thank God I have these friends, right? We all need things sometimes, right? Anyway, how many of you think you might use the Pantene commercial? The J-Max story is my other one I go to when I have bullying going on. I show them the J-Max story. And if you don't know J-M-A-C, look at that tonight, okay? And I think about what I will say while they're watching it. It's a kid with autism and how he wanted to play basketball and how his senior year they finally put him in a game and he was the high scorer. And how the whole student body loved him and supported him. And once I show you that, you don't want to be the bad guy anymore. You look for the kids who are exceptional and different, and you love them. Now, that's only going to hold a kid for a week. You got to feed them constantly to remind them to be good people, right? Am I out of time? Was I supposed to be done at 40 or 30? Does anyone know? Noon? I have till noon. Are you kidding? Yay. Okay, I'm going to tell you a story then. Here's a story. I've got a theater program, and I don't have a stage like this. I had a gym. So you guys, I'm a little jealous of you because I was one of this. Now that I'm a school board member, guess what we have? But I never got to use it, so I'm proud that we finally have an auditorium. But I was in the gym, and every year they were going to cut theater. When they're looking to save money, they're going to cut theater. I knew I was on the chopping block every freaking year. I did Annie, I did Oklahoma, I did Joseph, I did Broadway Fair, like Broadway Fair, and packed the house and made money in a small town. But it still took me doing that every year just to stay, right? So one year I thought, man, I need to do something big. And so I decided to make a movie instead of doing a play. So I put out a press release, a small town makes Hollywood-style feature film. Now, I had a camera, a VHS camcorder, loaned to me by the football program. I had a computer with 64 megs of RAM. I didn't have iMovie at that time. It was composite DV out of a computer. It was really a hard time to do video. But anyway, in my little town, when I do a play, 12 kids try out, typically. If it's a musical, I might get 20. So a lot of kids play dual roles. Girls wear mustaches, that sort of thing. 50 kids tried out for the movie. 10 adults tried out for the movie. I have no idea how to make a movie, and my assistant director was totally freaking out. I said, Bill, we'll figure this out. The kids will help us. We'll figure this out. Kids will make the soundtrack. Well, it'll be all right. So I get into this, and I'm filming. I'm bringing the video into the computer, and one night it crashed. The computer said, warning, save and it just like that, and it was all gone. The whole file was corrupt. I lost 40 hours of work. So I started again. I cussed in a Christian school, but it was midnight, so it was okay. I started in again. Here's how stupid I am. I didn't Google or nothing. I just thought, okay, fluke. I didn't realize I had 64 megs of RAM. That's not enough. RAM is a juggler that keeps track of everything until you hit save, and even if you do hit save, if it crashes in the middle, it could corrupt the file. I don't know any of this. I'm just trying to do this movie, and I know I got motivated kids who love being in the movie. It's growing my program and my presence. So 40 hours in, it happened again. I lost 40 more hours of work. And then I Googled, this is how dumb I am. So please let me be pre-dumb for you. If there's a way to screw it up, I figured it out. So you cannot do worse than I did. So finally, I get the movie going, and Cake News, Channel 10 from Wichita wants to come and do an exclusive on my film program. I have one computer. I'm the art teacher. I'm just doing this, right? But they're coming. So if they're coming, I got to make it look good. So I went to Lowe's and I got clip-on work lights, and I made track lights for my room. So it was like Pixar. I put a lava lamp beside my computer so it seemed bigger. It's just the one computer. I bought one of those clapboards that go like that. It arrived the morning the press got there, so we had no time to practice with it, so it's really just a prop. I did everything wrong that you could think of. When I was teaching kids how to do this, I didn't have a microphone, nothing. I'd say, make sure you're no more than 3 feet from the camera or we can't hear you. That was my 3-foot rule. When I did follow shots, like in the hallway when the kids are walking or talking, I had a Rubbermaid cart that I put my tripod on, sandbag in the bottom for stability, and I'd follow them. And one squeaky wheel makes me crazy. Just trying to squeak, cut. I do it again. It's WD-40, WD-40, squeak, cut. Okay, and every threshold makes you go like this. So, I'm learning as I go. I'm filming some scenes off the back of my truck. I'm hanging off my ladder racks and filming like this. I had to do a high-low shot. Hollywood, they do it on a crane, right? So here, and the kids are walking by, and you go like this right as they go by. It's awesome. I didn't have a crane, so I had a farmer loan me a front-end loader. So I'm on a front-end loader. I'm doing all this stuff, just MacGyver it together the best I can. Anyway, the film people come to the school, and so here's the story. Here's what it looked like. Meanwhile, I realize I'm faking all of this, okay? I don't know what I'm doing at all.
Every high school has a school play, but there won't be one this semester at Inman High School.
Yeah, they're doing something a little different
I put
this
us on
year.
the map.
Kathleen Berger explains how it's bringing a little piece of Hollywood to Kansas.
Rolling.
Scene 9B, take one, and action.
Big Bird and Elmo are begging us to visit Sesame Street.
Bust them. Big Bird and Elmo.
Elmo!
Inman High School is getting a taste of Hollywood, and everyone wants in on it.
We just need to get the whole school to overdo it a little bit for the cameras.
Well, I never done a movie before. I get confused, and I usually say the wrong number, like right here.
That's okay. It's a golden opportunity to be part of a movie.
You got to understand, I shot this whole thing in the art room, and I shot it like a theater director. I made every kid be there every day. That's crazy. This is a movie. I can shoot your scene, and then you guys can go back to volleyball. I won't have to see you again till opening night, and then I'll shoot your scene, your scene, your scene. A-B shots, you talk, then you talk, then you talk. It looks like a conversation. I didn't know any of that. I made them all show up. But I made them do their homework while they were waiting. But I had a clock on the wall behind it all. So for 6 weeks, I shot with this clock on the wall. What happens with a clock during the movie, do you think? In Hollywood, that's called continuity. It sounds like a bladder control issue. I didn't know any of this. The other teachers made fun of me, but, I'm doing the best I can to try to figure this out. And all I know is I got at-risk kids who are dying to be in the movie or keeping their grades up just to be in the movie, this little movie that I just willed. There was nothing to it. I mean, it was just me, right? This sort of magic of possibility and that people were going to come see the movie.
I guess it's a good thing to see on her resume. People will be like, wow, she's been in a movie.
Michelle Franz is one of the stars in the movie Spy TV, and the high school drama teacher is playing a new role as movie director.
Ashley, back to your
I
line.
had
It's
hair.
about a small town high school that gets invaded by a reality TV show. The cameras come in, privacy goes out. Some kids love it because they're stars. Some kids are ignored or made fun of.
And the set makes the execution of the film a cinch because the story takes place at a high school, giving the actors and actresses liberty to be more themselves.
I play football, and that's the only sport I play.
This is Brandon Brown. Great kid. The kind of kid that would never have been in a play. He had football, and football practice happened when play practice happened. So there were certain kids who couldn't do certain things. You can't fix everything. But he was in the movie, and he played the jock, and he loved this little part, I guess. Anyway, he got married and moved to Greensburg, Kansas. Now, what do you know about Greensburg, Kansas? Does anyone remember anything about that? F4. Leveled the town. Destroyed the town. It's amazing more people didn't die. When I go there, oh my gosh, it's amazing how brave they have been to try to put the town back together. Well, that's where they moved. And his wife called me weeks later and said, Mr. Honeycutt, they still call you Mr., Mr. Honeycutt, we lost everything in that tornado, but the only thing Brandon can't live without is a copy of that stupid movie you guys did in high school. He never let on. He never let on that it meant that much to him. I never would have known that. The janitor at the school, Kay, who's a friend of mine now, and I have breakfast with her at the Inman Harvest Cafe from time to time. She played the janitor in the movie. She had to chase the kids down the hall. I didn't know, but at that time she had just had a double radical mastectomy. She was not supposed to leave her house. She didn't tell me. She came and she shot all of her scenes and ran down the hall. I said, Kay, why? She said, I didn't want to miss my big break. It had that effect on grown-ups. You know what I mean? The town's losing its mind over this silly thing that I'm doing. And the reporter said something interesting. She said, are you going to have like a red carpet entrance? And I said, yes, we are. There's a good idea. I started thinking, right? I called the wedding supply rental place in Hutchinson, Rieger Rental, and I said, do you have red carpet? And they said, yeah, we have 20 feet. I said, I need 40 feet from the curb to the front of the school. We have 20 feet. So you'll see in the video, the red carpet just peters out halfway down. And so here's my plan. I rented a limousine, and it drove around the block 100 times. So I picked up each kid and brought them to the red carpet. Every kid got out of a limo. In my little town, this is a big deal. The police wanted to be involved. They wanted to do security. They just wanted to be on TV, you know. They said, we have the cherries on. You want the cherries? I'm like, fine, do your thing. So everyone's losing their minds in my Mayberry town. And meanwhile, I don't know how to get a movie out of a computer. Every time I try, it crashes every time. And I finally figured out, I don't have enough RAM. Where am I going to get RAM at midnight on a school night in Inman, Kansas? The computer lab has RAM, and I have a credit card. I'm from the trailer park. I can open most doors with a credit card. I use my powers for good, but I can't open most doors. So I'm breaking into the computer lab that night. Now, the lady who ran the computer lab, her name is Myrna Ice. I want you to picture the face that goes with that name. And she hated me. She hated me because, you know, I was off the cuff, flippant. She used words I didn't even understand. You're being awfully flip. I had to Google it. Oh, I'm being a jerk. Okay. I'm breaking into her room. So it's like G3s everywhere. And they open like a Volkswagen hood. They're begging you to open them, you know. I wore gloves. I Googled. I stole RAM sticks. They only had one. They spec these computers out so cheap. They only had one stick of RAM and 4 slots. That's what districts sometimes we get the lowest price. That's okay. I stole 1 stick out of 3 machines, and I filled all 4 slots. Oh, my God. It was beautiful. Things go so fast when you have RAM. Special effects, done, done, done. I'm like, I only have one job, and that's to put the RAM back before I go home. But one night I was so tired. It was like 4 in the morning. I didn't put the RAM back. Myrna came to the computer lab. She lit up 3 machines with no RAM. Who's she coming for, do you think? She came in my room and ripped me a new corn shoot in front of my class. But I got the movie done. And the news people said, can we come back and cover the big opening? I said, yes. So here's the whole plan. We're going to show the movie on the gym wall, serve popcorn, blah, blah, blah. That's the whole plan. So I'll show you what that looked like.
It's the night all of Inman has been waiting for, the premiere of the movie Spy TV. The Spy TV stars will be walking down the red carpet any minute now. And here they are. It's Michelle France. Let's go. Hi. Michelle, that is a gorgeous dress you're wearing. Who's the designer?
I'm not for sure. My mom kind of helped me out with that, you know.
Michelle's pumped about her first big role in a movie. Here's a clip.
Oh, good. Look at this video quality. It's terrible. It's terrible. And after it was over, the parents, they were in a big herd outside, and they said, Honeycutt, come here. That's never a good situation. They're a herd, and they want you to come over. I went over. They said, what do you need? I said, what do you mean? To do this right, what do you need? That hurt my feelings a little bit, because I thought it was pretty good. And I gave them my list, my $10,000 list, and they bought all of it. And next year, by gosh, we had Canon GLs. We had, you know, everything we needed, a Steadicam, boom mics. We were legit. Someone had to write the first check, you know? Don't be afraid to write a check on an account you haven't even opened yet. That's called invention and innovation, and teach your kids the same. I was willing to do the work, right? But I had to do something different, something big. This Some Pig Theater for a while. And my theater department grew. You know why? Kids met me who never would have met me through the movie. Then they tried out for plays. So actually, it's Some Pig, that whole thing. The problem is it belonged to me. And if I die in a car wreck, the whole thing is over. And it couldn't be that way. I had to find a way to give it to the kids.
You're not going to believe what Stacy did at the party.
And in real life, the Spy TV stars are in the spotlight for the first time as well. That's because the movie is an Inman High School production. The actors and actresses, high school students making their movie debut. And the paparazzi is wild about them.
I have 2 sons in the movie this evening.
This is a sweet lady, but she never left the 80s, you can tell.
I have a movie star daughter.
And how are Inman's newest stars coping with the fanfare?
Oh, it's awesome. It's outrageous.
Scott DeWitt. Permanent fixture on the academic ineligible list. Until the movie. I used a little bit of Hollywood myself. I said, Scott, I don't want to delete your scenes, but this is a brand new program, and I can't let your grades reflect badly because we won't get to exist. He said, you would delete my scenes? I said, I don't want to. He said, you won't have to. He kept his grades up until the end of that year to be in this movie, and he did it the next year, and he walked across the stage. I promise you, the movie did a lot more for him than he did for the movie. But it's about the swagger. Look at the swagger.
It's great.
There you go. Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry, I can't take anymore.
Well, it never hurts to pretend. Reporting for Cake Local News, I'm Kathleen Berger.
Love that music. Spy TV, the first movie ever produced at Inman High School. The movie is also showing Friday and Saturday night at the high school, beginning at 7 p.m.
And the best part is we scooped E.T., so we're pretty excited about that.
Okay, so I want you to think about this. I would love it if you had 3, 4, 7 red carpet events at your school this year, and that you would share a link with me. And it could be for the science fair. It could be for the movie thing. It could be for anything. But it feels important, you know? It's the end zone they can spike the ball in. And they don't forget that, right? There are stakes, and it feels important. What happens is the town starts getting proud. Yeah, kids in our school, you know, they make full-length feature films. They said at the Inman Harvest Cafe, people will protect what they've learned to be proud of. When they start bragging about the cool things you're doing, that's sustainability, right? So what I wanted to do is give this to the kids. As much as I like doing it, I needed to give it to the kids. So I had a student film program I started. I wrote a VE2, a tech ed funded program, and I got 8 computers. 8. Ooh. Meanwhile, now I got a film program 1 hour a day. And the kids are making documentaries, and we're making free commercials for any local business because they can't afford a professional. And guess what? Ours can't be worse than local commercials. Some of our commercials got on TV. We told every band in the newspaper, we will do your music video for free. Because then we had music we could use without breaking copyright. The band loved us. We would storyboard together and put out their video. We told anyone who had a death in the family that we would quickly put together a little documentary in time for the funeral, and we did that. They would bring in their pictures, and we would make some honor movie for them. Boy, did they learn a lot about the community. It's amazing where this started to go. So that spring, I wanted to have Oscars. Now, I don't have no money, so I couldn't buy the statues. So where am I going to get Oscars? So I went to yard sales, and I bought these. Now, if you take a bowling trophy and break the arms off, you got this, right? The kids call them the leaned-in Oscars because they were leaned in like this, right? So take the leaned-in Oscar, and you put it on a tuna can. You got the tuna can leaned-in Oscars. What are the categories? You decide. Let's pretend you're doing this in your class. Best descriptive script, best persuasive script. Tie it to writing standards. They won't notice, right? They think they're Spielberg, and they're staying after school to work on their film. But I always get my work up front. Then they get to have the fun of filming, but they don't film a single thing. Hollywood calls it a storyboard. It's an outline. Hollywood calls it a script. It's an essay. Hollywood calls it rehearsal. It's review. Shh. Let them feel like Spielberg. They're still doing the work, right? And I don't let these things get long. With student projects, I give them a deadline and I stick to it. We're going to show them on Friday. If you want to keep working, sweetie, you do that, okay? But I can't let this become a time vampire that eats the entire semester, right? Now you could shoot the whole thing. You could have done our whole movie better on a phone. I had crap, you guys. We got good stuff, so how can we make that come to life? Video is so powerful for so many reasons, right? But get your why right. Why are you doing video? You to cover science standards, you know. The following year, we did this movie, The Ghost of Inman High. If you come to my community, you'll find out there's a rumor about a ghost in the auditorium. Every alumni knows about this, so we just wrote the movie. This is all on YouTube, so if you go on YouTube and put in The Ghost of Inman High, it's an 1.5 hour long feature film that I made with kids. After the news came, this millionaire in Hutchinson, Kansas, found out about our movie, and he asked if he could bring his entire antique car collection to our 1932 prom shoot. So Model A's and Model T's and all these cars are there. A former rockette in her 90s came and taught all my kids how to waltz for that scene. People were going crazy to be a part of this movie. You'll see the kids driving this Model T, this 29 Ford Speedster. It's a Ford Speedster. They're not really driving. It's being pulled on the back of a trailer, and I'm filming out in midair as these kids are doing this because there's no way they could have driven that car for real. And, oh, my gosh, we made $3,000 on that movie in box office. How do you like me now? You know what I mean? Because we had to do it at the Fox Theater in Hutchinson. It was a 1,500-seat auditorium. We sold it out twice. We made another 1,500 in DVD sales. And this one we wrote. We owned the whole thing. Kids wrote the soundtrack. We owned it all. So if you want to be serious and go to film school, this is a launch pad. If you want to do local commercials and documentaries, what can we teach with all that? So as you're looking at all this stuff and thinking that's really cool, work on your why. Why would I do this? You know, why would this be good for kids? Once you figure that out, we can do how. How got easy. Right, figure out why. I'm out of time. Thank you for staying awake the entire time, guys and girls.